This night of tradition and memory takes me back to the Christmas Eves of my youth. I remember my family piling into the car, huddling to stay warm in the Ohio cold, sliding around on the vinyl seats to try to heat them up more quickly. As we drove over the branching streets and past the occasional houses decked for the season with colored lights, the giddy anticipation of Christmas was almost too much to bear. Upon our arrival at the Presbyterian Church, the blast of warm air greeted us, as well as the familiar sanctuary filled with poinsettias and people dressed in their finest holiday attire. I remember how artificially bright the church seemed at night. Compared to the scene on Sunday morning, it was like another world. The red carpeting seemed much more red. The minister wore a different robe with a vibrant stole, and there were usually extra instruments to accompany the organ, sometimes brass, their shiny metal reflecting the lights of the Christmas tree. I loved the hubbub of the night, singing the Christmas songs and sharing the candlelight, and sitting with my family, the five of us taking up half the pew, my siblings and I dizzy from excitement and sugar, and usually trying to make each other laugh. But every Christmas Eve we gathered in that church, I was most fascinated by this big star that hung from one of the rafter beams above the altar. It was quite the creation. It was this enormous, hollow, plastic, electrified combination of a dodecahedron and a porcupine. It was like a lit-up spiky dandelion hanging upside down. In my adolescent, disaster-minded imagination, this was a star that was going to do some serious damage were it to fall. It glowed an even, low-watt orange, kind of like the light from my sister's easy-bake oven. I marveled at that star and the mystery that it symbolized. It gave me something to think about in between the Christmas songs and the pokes from my brother. I wondered where it was kept the other 51 weeks of the year. I wondered who got to hang it. And I wondered how it might have compared to the star that led the wise men on their long journey to see the baby Jesus. It didn't much look like the star I had seen in nativity picture books. That star was more like a bright white cross that took up at least half the page. The star in the church, big though it was far more humble, far more prickly. Back then, of course, I didn't doubt that the wise men had, in fact, seen a star that led them to the manger in Bethlehem, no matter what it actually looked like. The star was a familiar detail of a familiar story. When we would leave the church and make our way back out into the December dark, I would look to the starry night sky, hoping that I too might catch a glimpse of the kind of star those wise men had followed. The stars, they always seem so small, so far away, and yet I still searched. On the drive home, I'd peer out the window. I would squint my eyes to turn the glow of the brightest dots of light into those tiny cross shapes, trying to imagine what would have made one star stand out amidst the thousands adorning the heavens. While my understanding of the nativity story has changed over the years, and I now think of that star much more metaphorically, I confess I still leave Christmas Eve services looking for a special star, wondering what sign could be waiting for me, for any of us, in the night sky. What would it be like if such a star actually did appear tonight? If the star were bright enough, like the picture book versions, literally filling the sky, we could bet there would be more than 3 wise men following it. I imagine the highways would be jam-packed with people holding up their smartphones, trying to get the best possible video to be uploaded on YouTube or sold to CNN. Some people would probably react with fear, assuming the terrorists had launched an attack, or maybe aliens. And then others, perhaps they would fall to their knees, certain that the rapture had begun at last. And then there would be some of us who wouldn't notice at all. Maybe in the busyness of our lives and the bright lights of all our responsibilities and our distractions, we would refuse to look up, to look outside of ourselves, to take in the wonder that is this life itself, this miracle that we are here on this spinning ball, hurtling through an unfathomable universe toward a destination beyond comprehension. How easily we can overlook the miracle that we are alive. Overwhelmed as we can be by the particulars of our lives, how easily we can miss the bigger story, the blessings all around us, the blessings that are us. But our UU take on Christmas calls us back to the wonder, does it not? We are called to remember that a holy night occurs every night a child is born, that each birth holds possibility and promise for the life yet to be lived, the life that will, in its way, contribute to the story that we all share. Christmas calls us to the life all around us as a means of calling us back to ourselves and to the choices that we can make, even in the darkest of nights. This idea of being called, whether by a star or by angels or by our better natures, is one that I wonder about a lot. Many of you here tonight may also be wondering, yearning even, for the guidance of a star, a bright white calling that might show you the way. Maybe you're stuck in the middle of your own dark night, hoping for an unmistakable sign that will finally direct you toward a new beginning. Maybe you're wondering about a significant relationship, trying to decide what is missing or what went wrong, hoping for some forgiveness perhaps, or the ability to forgive. Maybe you're grappling with some career choices, whether to stay or to go, to begin, to branch out, to cash it in. Maybe you're looking for a star to lead you out of your depression or your grief or your spiritual malaise toward some kind of healthier, more whole way of living. Or maybe you're not looking at all, but you can't say you feel great about it either. Something's not right, even if you can't name it. I don't want to dismiss the possibility that a star, literal or metaphorical, may indeed appear for any of us, calling us to the answers that somewhere inside we already know. In fact, I think life gives us signs all the time, especially if we don't get too stuck in our preconceptions or too limited in where we think wisdom will be found. Still, I wonder about the time we spend waiting for a sign when what we might most need to do is just get moving already. To trust our own sense of the holy or our own inner guidance enough to lead us forward no matter which road we choose. We can't know for sure what is the right way. Life takes us down unexpected and sometimes unappealing roads. We will make mistakes. We will let people down. We will face dead ends. We will end up following stars that vanish before we even get close. But maybe we must grope a little and sometimes hit a tree directly in the forehead in order to learn to see the calling that is already there in our hearts. Maybe we have to stumble around in the dark in order to find the light that enables our lives to finally step almost straight. In fact, maybe the lack of a sign, the lack of a star, we might say, is the calling we most need to heed. The calling that says rather than wait for an assurance that fills our night sky, we could start making our own light. Yes, even we tired, we overworked, underloved, underappreciated, uncertain about our future travelers can stop waiting for others to light our way. We can choose to light the way for ourselves and for each other instead. How might you make some light this night and in the nights to come? What choices might you be facing? Choices that once made could change your life in extraordinary ways. UU minister Mary Wellemeyer wonders about these kinds of choices embedded in the metaphors of the Christmas story. She writes, like those shepherds who were on the hillsides with their flocks, like those wise ones in their observatories with their telescopes and astronomical charts, we find our daily work interrupted by these holidays. Like them, we can't keep on working. We have to listen to singing angels. We have to deal with the call of that special star. The little town of Bethlehem is thronged with people who have come to be taxed, crowding streets and shops, and we have to find our way to an unknown place where a wonderful new beginning awaits. What precious new beginning are you seeking this night? For what do you push through crowds? What have the angels told you? What is the call of the star? What is the call of the star, she asks. What is the call of your star, your life, your painful, fascinating, wretched, exquisite, finite life? Your life that asks more of you than you could ever ask of it. May your answers surprise you in the most splendid ways, encouraging you with their beauty and their possibility. And may your night sky be lit with the radiance of your courage and your hope.